Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Game Chat podcast. We're a little bit off if we were doing this annually, but we're nobody's keeping track of that except for me. But yeah, I have T Maximus back again with me, and this time we aren't talking about Cyberpunk. We're talking about Halo Infinite, specifically the multiplayer part of it, because we have quite a few grievances that I feel like just need to be. I said, when I pitched this to Team Access, I'm like, we should have a therapy group, just like you get together, we talk about our grievances, and then we let them go. Not to say that we don't like the game. We do think it's fun, but there are just some things, especially campaign. Campaign came out last week and it's super, super fun, but yeah, so we'll talk about it. But anything you want to add, sir, before we get going here?
Well, yeah, first off, I would like to say thank you for having me back again. This is always fun when we get to do this. I know we've had three collaboration videos now, except I don't have my own channel, so it's not really a collab. But yeah, no, we very much do enjoy Halo. The core gameplay is fantastic, and we're gonna break down the reasons why we have gripes. Because if the game was just the game, it would be perfect. It would be perfect. It really would. Um, but yeah, we'll get right into that.
Yeah, so starting with, we actually made a list last night to make sure that everything was somewhat organized. So starting with the first thing on the list, or no. Let me be more general and then I'll have my example. So some of the stances that you can unlock in the multiplayer, which we'll dive into there's a whole lot of different things. But starting off, there are some things that are kind of like duplicates within the multiplayer, specifically when we're looking at like the battle pass realm of things. So my example that I provided is that the Olympic stance and the Noble Strike stance are practically the same thing. Only difference is that like you're holding a different gun and you're looking in a different direction. So one is like booty out front and you're looking to your right and you're holding a gun, and then one is like booty out front and you're looking to your left and you're holding a different gun. I'm like, okay, I guess did that deserve to be two different stances that you can unlock in the same battle pass? I don't know.
It's unfortunately it's saturation. Items in order for them to charge you more, in order for them to make you feel like you're unlocking more, they will literally saturate things. And on the more basic level of saturation, we're going to talk about how the battle pass is laid out. So it's like a traditional battle pass, it's tiers 1 through 100. Now, in terms of cosmetics, you do unlock some armor. Now, you don't really unlock much unique armor. I think you unlock maybe 5 to 10 pieces of, no, not even 10 pieces. You unlock about 5 or less pieces of unique armor. Everything else is from a previous game, Halo Reach. So this is the third time we're paying for Halo Reach armor. Now, for me, the saturation part is if you unlock a shoulder pad, you're not unlocking it for both shoulders. So one tier could be your right shoulder, and the next tier will be your left, rather
Yeah.
than one tier unlocking both shoulder pads.
And I didn't even
This
put this
is
on the list. I completely forgot, but you only get that shoulder pad for a specific armor core. And so if you
right.
want like to customize all, let's say if you didn't have the battle pass, I guess just one, if you're your only armor core, which by the way, the battle pass does not support that armor core. So, oh man, it's a lot
Yeah,
of
that
things.
armor core is practically naked. You don't unlock anything for it.
Yeah.
So, for anybody who doesn't quite understand the armor core system, think about it like this. Each armor core is a default Mr. Potato Head. It has no pieces on it at all. It's just a Mr. Potato Head. You can activate that core. So, at the time, you're holding a potato, right? With nothing on it. No
Hmm.
ears, no nose, no eyes, no mouth, nothing. That's what they give you if you're a free to play player. They give you just a potato, and you can't unlock any pieces for it. So it's really ridiculous. If you want to get anything, you have to buy the premium battle pass, or you have to go into the marketplace, which right now the marketplace is the absolute worst marketplace I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever. It's
So
bad.
uh T-Vaxis actually like added up all the numbers. Like if you wanted to get everything that's in the marketplace because you just love supporting 343 or you love supporting Halo that much, or you feel like you're not getting the cosmetics that you should be in the battle pass, to get everything, it would cost $1,000. Each piece costs $10 on its own. And I never thought I would say this about a game, but this battle pass makes Fortnite look so much better. And I'm not necessarily a hater of Fortnite, but it's definitely not catered towards my demographic, so I don't play it that much. Yeah. And to see that, I'm thinking about, wow, like, you know, I could probably afford like all of this in Fortnite for a pretty reasonable cost. It's not a good sign. Not at all.
The main problem comes from if you want to buy a full armor set, so customization for every part of your armor, it's $20. And again, you can't put it. You have 3 armor cores. That is, if you participated in a free event called Fractured Tenrai, which we will talk about later. But yes, these armor cores that you're buying from the shop, or not armor cores, the armor pieces. Sorry. You can only put it on one of the 3 armor cores that you have, and you have to equip only 1 per game. You don't have a choice. You can't just be like, I want to randomly go between my armor cores. You can't do that. Now, another thing that makes Fortnite or any other battle pass look good that we talked about was that this battle pass in Halo has absolutely zero way whatsoever to regain the in-game currency that you use to buy the battle pass, which means you're going to have to buy the battle pass every single time. You can't work towards the new battle pass by completing the one you currently have. So in most games, I mean, if anybody, it's pretty rare that you're not going to have experience with the battle pass, because most games have them these days. But if nobody has, or if there's somebody out there who hasn't had access to a battle pass, usually as you go up the tiers, you can regain the currency that you paid for with real money, but you can do it for free this time, which means that the next battle pass, if you progressed enough, would be free. Now, the only argument that this Halo game has is once you buy a battle pass, it's unlocked forever. So I think that's probably why they're doing it, but my biggest concern is that it's saturated with items that you do not get to put on a character or a weapon or a vehicle. This thing is called XP.
Yeah.
XP gains or challenge swaps.
So my thing is, I would understand for like for example, like the Tenrai armor not being able to have like pieces that go across all the cores, because you know that's a specialized piece of armor. It's supposed to make you look like a samurai, or like samurai X Spartan kind of thing. But that aside, going back to like what we were talking about with not being able to earn like credits to buy the battle pass. So basically, to buy the battle pass, you have to spend $10, and those $10 are then converted into credits. And you have to have like, I think 1,000 credits or something to get the battle pass.
Yeah. And if we're being honest, that's a decent price.
Yeah, it's a decent price. And especially since you don't have to ever buy it again, I would say that's fair. But exactly. The fact that you don't earn credits at all in the battle pass itself, or just by playing the game,
or anywhere,
it forces you to, if you want to get something in the shop, you have to use real money. So at this point, I ask, why are there even credits if you're just gonna make me use real money? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all that we don't have any way to like get these credits as like their currency system, but you're gonna ask me to spend actual money to get other things. Like, why have the credit system? I don't know.
Right.
But another thing, speaking of the battle pass, we have quite a few notes on the battle pass. But speaking of, so we talked about how there are a lot of like duplicates within the battle pass, just so they can fill out and make it seem like you have a lot of options. A lot of those are variations of the color blue, which I don't know why they settled on the color blue. Green probably would have made a little bit more sense, if anything. Wouldn't have been happy with that, but it would have made a little bit more sense. Tier 99, T-Vax was pointed out, You unlock the color gray for your armor. Tell me, in what world does it make sense that you would grind for essentially each tier? You can kind of consider it as roughly an hour of your time. After 99 hours, I get the color gray for my armor. Not even all of my armor. One specific armor core that you probably bought by getting the battle pass. How does this make sense?
You're essentially paying, or not paying, well, you're paying with your time. You're paying to go all the way up to tier 99 to get a color that makes it look like you took color away. So it looks like you're just a suit of iron. It's really bad, or steel, or whatever. It's just like... I get the color gray, huh? So we're going to talk about colors big time, because that's another thing that the Battle Pass is saturated with. That's another thing that is in the store left and right. It is armor color. It's just a color. It's nothing unique. There's no camo to it. There's nothing. It's just a color. It's ridiculous. You can't do what you did in any of the previous Halo games, where you can mix and match a primary, a secondary, and even sometimes a tertiary color. No, you just are stuck at the mercy of these really pitiful, confusing colors that they have this really odd symbol for. It looks like an octagon. I think it has 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 6 parts. And each part is a different color, but they're supposed to represent a different part of the armor. And in the end, they just look like one color. So it's like, what are they? I don't know what they're trying to do. It makes no sense. The biggest gripe that I saw on the internet at the start of the game, when the shop was available, was $20 for the color white. Let that sink in for a second. $20 for the color white. You don't get anything else. No.
Yeah.
You're spending $20 real life USD.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, I feel like and T-Maxis and I both played the MCC to, I feel like, an extensive amount, especially last summer. We did. Leading
you
up
and I
to,
played through every campaign.
Yeah, leading up to Halo Infinite. We're like, oh, let's get ready by just like playing through all the games. Which, by the way, I feel like I need to watch like the cutscenes again, because I still feel like I did not retain the story. I feel like I was more, I don't know. It's interesting because I'm very much so driven to story-driven games, but when it comes to Halo, I don't know. It's just something about just running and gunning that's fun. I get some of the pieces, but not.
I mean, it's an arena shooter turned storybook, if that makes sense. Some people might get offended by that, but I mean, you get the gist. There are other ways to say that, of course, but yeah. Oh yeah, no, you put hours and hours and hours into MCC. It's unfortunate that
which I think I think that's why I was like a little bit, maybe possibly a little bit more favorable when it came to like selecting who was going to be in the beta, because I got picked for like both closed betas, which a lot of people did not, apparently. So I'm like, maybe it's those hours I put it. But to see like all the things that you're able to do in the MCC, and even now with like the freaking, they have an update where you can be, what is it? There's like kind of a ninja armor set. There's a Viking armor set, and there's one other thing that
Skeletor.
Oh yeah, the thing looks like Skeletor.
Oh goodness.
I can't remember which event this is associated with, but the fact I didn't even know the NCC had things like this until I started like comparing between the two, because I'm not super into the MCC's multiplayer than I was more into the campaigns. But just seeing the customization that you're able to do, that is probably the best build for customization that they've had. Just period. Like, I think they took everything from Reach and just applied it to all the campaigns. So you can customize each, I guess we're going to go with like the armor core terminology. You customize each armor core. You can pick your own colors, make it specific to you. You don't have to pick from color palettes that may or may not fit your taste. You can mix and match armor sets. So if you want to have a Viking head and a ninja body and freaking, I don't know, Spartan legs, you could do that. It am so confused as to why it almost feels like we're stepping back with Halo Infinite.
And
And
customization.
yeah, and customization, which I have like tossed and turned on the thought of like, is it really that important if we're just like, here to play Halo? And on the one hand, I'm like, no, what's important is the way that the game plays. But when you put in so many hours, you want to feel like you're being rewarded for it. Like the devs are like, thank you, we appreciate you for playing this game. Because, it is a shooter, so there's only so much that you can get out of it, or at least that I can get out of it when I'm someone who's really drawn towards story-driven stuff, which is why I really love the campaign. So having some kind of reward would be very much so appreciated, and I feel like they're just not providing that right now, especially for something else that T-Max was pointed out, is that you get the same amount of experience doing quick play that you do doing big team battle. And big team battle takes way more time. You have to wait for way more players to load in. And you get the same amount of experience even though you did not spend the same amount of time. So
There's no scaling experience. Yeah, you just you're at the mercy of the game. They did go through a little update saying that they're making the experience, well, they already did, quote unquote, make the experience gain smoother, more consistent, and more effective. But in my opinion, that is not the case at all. It incentivizes you essentially to play 6 games a day and then drop it there, because what they did is for XP gain. Well, we're gonna go about general XP real quick, and then I'll get into my gripe with this update.
Mm-hmm.
XP, you don't gain it from getting kills. You don't get it from playing objectives. You don't get it from being a good team player. You don't get it from doing anything but completing a match.
Yeah.
And that's if you don't
get
have
like
any
a score
challenges
at the end of the match, but the score doesn't
Right.
affect like any XP or anything. It's just
The
there so
score
you can
affects
see how well you
nothing.
did, I guess.
Yeah, the score affects nothing. It's a very base, generic, set in stone amount of XP you get per game. So at the very launch of the multiplayer, you only got 50 XP per game just for completing it. You don't get any extra XP for winning, by the way, either. You don't get any of that. So here's the problem. It takes 1,000 XP to rank up 1 level on the battle pass. That, if you it's 50 XP per game, you're going to be playing 20 games before you upgrade 1 time. And if each game runs 15 minutes, you do the math there. That's not right. So what they did is they came out with an update. And they're like, all right, XP should be better now, should be gained much faster now. And it does for the first like 2 hours that you play per day, but otherwise it's not that great. So what they did is they made the first game 300 XP. And keep in mind, this is all out of a bracket of 1,000 XP per level up. So first game was 300 XP, second game 200, third game 200, fourth game 100, fifth game 100. 6th game, 50. And anything after that, 50. So why would you ever play more than 6 games a day? There's just no reason to do it. Because you're gaining nothing. Even with that 300 boost, you have to play 3 games. Or actually 4 to get 1 level. That's kind of insane. It doesn't make any sense. Especially when your only other means of XP is the weekly challenges. What happens if you beat those? You don't have any other way of gaining XP, so you're just kind of there. You're at the mercy of it. It's a shame. I think they should keep XP per game as a minimum of 200. I really do think that's the appropriate step to take.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, it's not like we don't enjoy playing the game or anything, but it starts to feel really grindy, and playing any game type, especially like FPSs, it can get very frustrating depending on for some reason a lot of Halo players do not play the objective unless it's Slayer, which just so happens to line up with what they want to do. So It can get very frustrating trying to complete the challenges that require your team to win oddball or win capture the flag. And then on top of just not really earning any XP to get you to that reward, to that like release of serotonin, so you can be like, okay, I'll play for another hour since I'm having fun, I'm getting something for it, like this is a good time. Yeah, it's really tough right now with the customization.
It really is. And the biggest thing is it's one thing to make a game grindy if it's a game that has customization, uniqueness, etc. I'm not saying that Halo isn't unique, but it's an arena shooter, which means that the weapons you have you can't customize with attachments. You can't customize with unique variables other than skins or cosmetics. So it doesn't change the gameplay whatsoever. If you have a game that doesn't change per person, like Battlefield, Call of Duty, uh, Destiny, etc., um, what variability is there? If you're just grinding the same damn thing over and over again with no variance whatsoever, that gets boring. It really does. Like I love the game to death, but if I'm gaining nothing, if I'm gaining nothing to customize, nothing to switch out, I'm not switching anything else out. I'm not switching my weapon attachments. I'm not switching the game modes I want to play because right now you can't choose them at
Mm,
all.
yeah.
Um,
So
and yeah,
that's another thing where I feel like, I don't know. It's very interesting that they decided to launch the beta early, which honestly was pretty much. I don't know why they called it a beta. They could have just said like launching the multiplayer and then the campaign will launch in the next
it
couple
was
weeks because nothing has really
it was the
changed from it
PR.
being beta phase to like full launch phase other than adding the campaign.
Yeah, no, nothing at all, actually. Nothing
Which
changed.
I was kind of disappointed with because I was thinking like the XP thing they have somewhat addressed. Hopefully they will be fixing it or fine tuning it even more. But as far as like the how much things cost in the shop, I thought they might have addressed that because people have been complaining about that. Um,
They kind of blew that off, actually. So to
I
touch
was
on
thinking
that,
they would, but yeah.
yeah, to touch on that, there was one of the devs, I've forgotten the name, but one of the devs, there's a tweet out there or an Instagram post or something, but he says, "We hear you, we understand. You got to understand that people are it's the holiday season right now because this was around Thanksgiving that
Hmm.
this quote came out." And he said, "We hear you. It will take some time." See, the problem right there with me is they didn't say how they're gonna fix it. They didn't say when they're gonna fix it. They didn't even give us a time frame. They just said it'll take time, which kind of means they're brushing you off their shoulder, and they don't really want to, you know, communicate what they're gonna do to change this because right now, as it stands, and pardon my language, but this is a really shitty monetization system. It's bad. It's bad. There were devs in 343. They just recently had a live host or a live stream
Hmm.
of them talking at a desk, and they were talking about how they said this was a bad idea, and that they were telling folks in their dev team or the higher ups or whoever is in charge of this. It's usually the people who own the company. He was saying that this is not going to go well with the folks, the players of the game, and lo and behold, it has not gone well. So I'm sure what they're trying to do is find some way that'll appease the people that play the game as well as their own wallets. As it stands, they need to communicate because right now nobody is happy.
Yeah.
Nobody is happy.
Um, it's and I do understand that, we are coming up on the holiday season, so I don't want anybody to overwork themselves or not spend time with their family in order to like update this game and get it to where other people want it to be or to where their fan base wants it to be.
Yeah.
But to Tim's point, it would be nice to at least have some communication as far as like a timeline saying like, hey, we're gonna take a break during the holiday season since we've been working for like an extra year than we planned to get this game up and running, and we see that there are some issues now that we have a bigger player base to test some different features out. So we can aim for, or not even just like a timeline as far as like this is when we'll have it fixed, but like this is when we'll sit down and we can have a discussion about it or something. Like another live stream where they can interact with their player base and see what people are saying and take polls and stuff. Or take a poll like right now. And while people are like hanging out at home, like drinking hot cocoa or whatever, eating Master Chief shaped cookies. So that way when they come
Cheese
back,
on the shoulder.
yeah. So that way when they come back to the office, they can like get started right away and be like, okay, these are the things that we need to fix up, so let's go ahead and get this done, get the new year off to a good start. I think that was like one of my biggest issues as far as like with cyberpunk. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
On the communication front, I feel like they were before launch over communicating the heck out of like, oh yeah, this game's gonna be super awesome, super great, this is all the things we're gonna deliver.
Yeah,
And they
very
didn't
much.
deliver that, but I think the thing that they did do well, because they had, I don't know if it's because the spotlight was super hot on them at the time and they just needed to address some things, or if they felt that they needed to address some things, but they were like, okay, this is the timeline for the goals that we're going to try and hit. For this year, we apologize, like things didn't turn out the way that you guys planned, but we wanted to get it to that point. So people very quickly were able to like sit back in their chairs, be like, okay, well, you know, we just gotta wait for these deadlines to see. And then unfortunately, some other things happened to make those less than achievable. But you know, just having, I don't know, just communicating, even if you couldn't put out a timeline, say, hey, like we recognize there are the following issues, and then make sure that you talk with somebody in the community or somebody that's like an ambassador of the program that knows the issues, and say like, these are the things that people want to have addressed. We will like come back to you guys after the holiday season. Let's try and get some of these things done. I don't know. Rather than just saying like it will take time, it does sound like a response. It's like, yeah, we're not gonna come back to this, or if we do, you might be gone at that point.
Right. And hear me out here. Like my heart, it goes out to the devs for sure. I don't want to sound like a narcissistic jerk. I don't want to sound like somebody who's like self-centered, saying I need this and I need this now, not thinking about the devs and how much they work. I love the devs. I love the devs of pretty much any game because I know how hard they work to give us a product that we want to enjoy.
Hmm.
So the last thing I want is for people to rush and not be able to enjoy the holidays with their family or anything like that.
Right.
The problem with this is that it's the higher ups that control the content, control the flow of content, control what goes out when. It's not up to the devs. It never has been. That's why people have so many problems with like EA and all the other high companies that have been in controversy the past few years, like CD Projekt Red, etc. So the devs, they work so hard for this content, and a lot of it is already made. That's why people can find this stuff in the source code. That's why people can find sources that are leaked, etc.
Hmm.
But that flow again is controlled by corporate, and that's another reason why things haven't been fixed in terms of the monetization system. It's another reason why we're kind of left in the dark on how that's going to go and how we kind of got brushed off. Um, but yeah, the product that we have right now, fantastic. What we can do with it, fantastic. Core gameplay, wonderful. Campaign, really good. The only problem is we can't play it co-op yet, but
Yeah.
otherwise, there's so much about it that's just great, and it's a shame because we know they're trying, and we know if they could speak louder rather than being suppressed by corporate,
Hmm.
that we hear a lot more things that we want to hear. And honestly, that's what we're all kind of waiting for, all kind of hoping for.
The devs right now are probably having to try and talk with some of these corporate people and say like, hey, like who knows our player base better than we do? Like we made this game for them. So trust us in like some of the adjustments that we're trying to make so that way we can make more people happy. We understand that like y'all want to make money. We want to make money too. But if you can do it in a way that makes people feel like they're not having to be nickeled and dimed, like they will give you more money than probably you could ever hope for just because they enjoy the game so much. So hopefully those kind of adjustments will be made in the near future, I hope, because who knows? I feel like this game has so much potential to bring in lots of new Halo players, especially with it being free to play, which is a mixed bag in itself, I feel. But we ultimately, the fans just want the game to grow and be successful so that we can have more things like this. But as it stands right now, we just need to make some adjustments.
Yeah, there's a lot going for the game, a lot hindering the game. I personally think the free to play model is not a good thing. I think it's kind of ruining today's games. Uh, when I picked up this game, the first thing I said to my friends, I said, "This doesn't feel like a Halo game. I don't feel like I'm playing a Halo game right now." I didn't quite know why that was at first, and then I kind of started to understand it's because it was free to play, and I didn't pay for anything, and I'm also not unlocking anything. So it just felt like an arena shooter. I mean, it is an arena shooter, but it just felt like a basic arena shooter where you're just there to play it without gaining anything. It's like a mobile game where you can download it, but if you
Mhm.
want anything good, you know, you gotta microtransaction it, but these microtransactions aren't that micro.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, well, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we can talk about some of the core aspects to what makes Halo a Halo game, which is Forge and the co-op campaign as well, which unfortunately isn't here yet. But I feel like that would probably solidify the Halo feeling. Indeed. So, welcome back. Welcome back everybody to the second portion of the cast, I guess. Um so we were talking about what makes Halo Halo, or at least what made Halo pop off the charts as a motorcycle drives by my house. Forge mode, and well, at least we both feel like the co-op campaign has made a big splash as far as like what makes a good Halo game
What makes
good.
Halo Halo? Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, neither one of those things are out upon launch. I don't really understand the decision not to do that. But I guess like there's just some things they need to figure out as far as like implementing that across the board. Um,
It's definitely rendering limitations. That's the main thing for sure. Because if you have multiple people running around an open world, especially in a Halo game that has never been done before, but if you
right.
have that, you can only render so much at a time, and this is, I mean, arguably it's the most graphically impressive Halo that they've released. But if you look at things like Halo 4, there are definitely bits of Halo 4 that look better than any other Halo game.
Hmm.
I would like to argue that Halo 4 had the best visuals out of any Halo, but you can see comparisons like that online. People have side by sides. It's still, in terms of its grandeur and how much is presented to you at one time, how many pixels are on the screen. Halo Infinite definitely does blow you away with what all you can see in the scope of the world. The world
Yeah.
building is it's pretty well done.
When I was playing the campaign last night, we were just like chatting as I was like running around doing stuff. And you can actually see in like the little places where other Marines were like camping out, you can actually like read like the flavors that are on the MREs. And let me say, some of those Marines are disgusting. But, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do, and you're just like out there
Do
on
what you gotta do,
Zeta
man.
Halo.
You gotta,
Still
especially
disgusting,
when you
but
challenge it, you get challenged with, mortality. But
yeah. So yeah, they've done a really good job as far as like being graphically impressive. And I do have to give them points as far as like um making this game work on, I call them current gen, because most people don't have PS5s or Xbox Series
exactly,
X's. So I think they do a good job of making them work on current gen and next gen consoles.
yeah.
Um and as far as like looking at other developers that have had issues optimizing for current gen, I would say that's a pretty good feat.
And just to clear things up, current gen, by that we mean I know it's Microsoft exclusive, but PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and I mean Windows will always be current, which
Yeah.
is an interesting thing to talk about. But um, yeah, you can definitely tell this game was made for console, which is very nice because a lot of the games that have released on console lately, you can tell were made are very much like fine-tuned for PC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the biggest offenders being Battlefield, the new one. I love Battlefield to death, but at the moment with our quote unquote current gen consoles, it feels horrible. It's very laggy, very bad with input lag, and you can tell that it was definitely built around a mouse and a keyboard and not a controller. Whereas with this Halo, you can feel there's a lot of really good responsiveness. There's easy, fine adjustments, fine controls. Everything feels tight versus having really awful input lag or something that'll mess you up. But I did hear on the opposite end of the spectrum, this game feels funny on PC. I've been told that it
Hmm.
has input lag on PC. I haven't tested that out myself yet, but it is free to play. So if anybody does care to give it a try, you don't really have anything to lose from it because, again, it is free.
Yeah.
Um, and I was surprised at how small the file size was. I was very pleasantly surprised. It was only somewhere around 23 to 25 gigabytes, which most of the games that release nowadays is it's like Call of Duty. It's a terrible, terrible offender of this. It's a 100 gigabyte minimum for the base game, and that's without any of the insane updates they push like once a week. So,
Once a week.
well, depending on how their live service is, or
Mm.
I should say how live their live service is, yeah, they push out updates very, very quickly, very frequently. I'm not talking
Oh,
about
wow.
big updates, but they compound for sure.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, yeah, no, definitely this Halo, it feels great. The file size for what you get is very nice. It's very light, very easy on your memory, your hard drive, anything, your SSD, whatever you prefer, and you get a lot for it. I don't know if that really has anything to do with the free to play. I really wouldn't say that. But if we look at the availability of variability, there are not that many maps.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there, what? So big team battle. What do we have? Three or four maps?
Oh, real
Do
quick.
you know?
I guess we could also, something we talked about before we had our intermission. You were saying that Halo doesn't quite feel like Halo because of the free to play aspects, and you were just saying, um, I don't know. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Halo not feeling like Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was for me that it was free to play. This has been the first Halo we got in what 8 years. When was the last? When was Halo 5 released?
I can Google it real quick, but it feels like forever.
Yeah, okay. So it's been a very long time. Halo 5 is the first Halo that was introduced as a rated teen, unless you're counting the Halo Wars games, but those are top-down Command and Conquer games, not first-person shooters.
It's been
And
6 years since
so
Halo
that's
5.
okay, 6 years. So that already kind of started a bad trend. It kind of fell onto the loot boxes.
Mm.
But it wasn't free to play. You actually had to go out and grab it. It was one of the first games released on the Xbox One console, if I'm not mistaken. And from that point on, we moved into like these really weird customizations and kind of lack thereof because you had predisposed body parts. And I guess what they kind of did in this game is they unlocked it more, and you can kind of sort of customize parts, but most of it's still predisposed. Anyway, free to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
The main reason why this game didn't feel like a Halo game to me because it was free to play. I didn't have to go to a store to buy it. I didn't have to like physically go to a store. I didn't have to go to GameStop, Walmart, Harris Teeter, or not Harris Teeter, sorry, Target,
That'd be funny
any
if they
place
had
that
it at Harris too.
would be Best
Pick up my
Buy,
milk,
whatever.
pick up a Halo, pick up my
Get you
Mountain
some,
Dew.
get you some Halo, yeah, yeah, some Mountain Dew, some Master Chief branded Mountain Dew. To put the
Mm-hmm.
Master Chief on the shoulder. Um, Yeah, no, I didn't have to get it from the Microsoft store. I just kind of had to be like, oh, install. The only thing I really had to make sure that it didn't cost me was my storage, my memory space,
Mm-hmm.
which we just talked about. It's very, very light, which again, I can't stress enough how much I appreciate that.
So when
And
you're
it's
saying,
optimized. It's
yeah,
optimized for something that is so little in terms of storage. So what are you saying?
I was just gonna say, so when you're saying like this doesn't feel like a Halo game, it's more so about
Yeah.
like the experience of getting the game that makes it not feel like a Halo
No,
game?
no. So that kind of leads into why it doesn't feel like a Halo. That's my start. So I'm going
Mm,
through kind of my chronology of what makes it not feel like a Halo. We're starting with the purchase. The purchase is just there's no purchase. Also didn't release with the campaign,
yeah.
which I mean it makes sense when they go and say it's a beta, but like was it really? No.
Yeah, like nothing, I don't know. I feel like, and that was something I was gonna bring up when we were like getting to the topic of like saying like when they finally did like the open beta, a lot of people conject, uh, I don't know, I'm trying to use big words, but I don't know how to use. A lot of people on the internet try to say that they did this because Battlefield opened up their beta and their beta did not perform well or it didn't impress Battlefield fans. And because of that, Halo wanted to come in and be like, well, we have this perfectly fine free to play game over here that you guys can enjoy that's free of all these bugs that you guys have been complaining about. Which whether that's true or not, I there had to be a deciding factor as far as like hitting the launch button. Um,
So I can tell you why they did it. They wanted to line it up with Halo or Xbox's 20th anniversary.
hmm.
Um, but they also wanted to do it specifically for PR. They wanted to get their game out there and be like, "Hey, look at us. We released a game early. This is the only time a game has been released early, or at least a AAA game title, earlier than its proposed release date." So
I'll have
I
to
don't.
look
It
and
just
see.
feels weird. I mean, they did it to get out there. Really,
Yeah.
it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense at all why they would. Um, I mean, you shouldn't call it a beta, like we said, if nothing
Yeah.
changes,
Oh,
and
here we
nothing did
go. I
change.
found the thing that I was thinking about. So, so the rumor was that they launched early because Pringles had accidentally like leaked that
Yeah,
it was
I
supposed
did
to
hear that
be
rumor.
coming around the it was gonna have an early launch, and so they're like, let's push the button. But that wasn't apparently what happened. Like they still went with their plan, but they're just like unfortunate that Pringles kind of let it slip a little early. But please continue with what you were saying about kind of like, I guess, coming from the quote unquote beta to the official launch.
I mean, all it really was is like taking off a band-aid, and the problem was, well, the band-aid being the title beta. Um, because once they took that title off, the game was actually in a worse state than when it was in quote unquote beta.
Mm.
They said, here's the full release, welcome to the full release. They dropped the campaign, that was the only difference, but then it screwed the servers for Big Team Battle. It
Right.
ruined them. So with the update that added campaign, it wound up making it so people were not able to connect to servers in Big Team Battle. People fully uh, could not fully populate their Big Team Battle servers. People would get kicked, people would crash, people would have error messages, and they just wouldn't even be able to load Big Team Battle. It was it's a weird thing to me to go from beta to quote unquote full release when nothing changes, but the game regresses and is in a worse place. It's strange. It's strange. I don't think they did a good job with this at all. I really don't. And I was just watching a video that during our intermission, I was watching a video that touches on a topic we were talking about earlier, which is the monetization system and the fact that we have heard nothing on it, and that this is a very bad look for 343 or
Mm.
Microsoft, and how this is actually it says a lot. The video was the not hearing anything on the microtransaction prices says a lot. Is the title of the video, and I was talking about these consistent $20 prices for garbage, essentially. What would usually be worth like $2, $3, maybe $5 maximum.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was mentioning the uh the battle pass. The battle pass is going to last 6 months.
Yeah.
6. um, we're gonna get events in between.
Hmm.
We have 3 unique events that we'll have coming soon. I think the next one is in
Yeah.
February, and it's not Tenrai. It's
There's
something
a
else.
let me look. I texted you a link to an event that's supposed to start in like the next 5-ish days actually. It's kind of like a
Oh, I think
Christmas-ish
that
event.
this is that the Cyber Isk one.
Let me see. There's Winter Contingency, which this is
The
posted
Halo
by
Reach
like
mission,
it's not posted by an official account, so I don't really know where they're getting this information. I have to double
right?
check. But it's called Winter Contingency, which is December 21st to January 3rd. Very short. Then
Is it
there's
a Halo Reach themed one? Because that's Winter Contingency, if I'm not mistaken, is like the introductory mission to Halo Reach.
it looks like not really. Like the colors look very like red, white, green, like Christmas themed. And then
Okay.
it looks like you might could get some emblems or something, which cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And then after that is January 18th to the 31st, which is Cyber Showdown. So it looks like you'll get a stance from it, a emblem, and a couple of helmets. One of the helmets actually looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a mohawk, but it has like the needler spikes on the top of it.
That's the one. That's the Cyberpunk one I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's one that's supposed to be February 8th to February 21st, which is Tactical Ops, which honestly doesn't really look all that special to me. Like it's just
Yeah.
more it looks like that one, if this is accurate, might include the gray armor with the red arm, like what we saw in the promotional material.
Wait,
Um
for which event?
the Tactical Ops in February.
Okay, thank goodness. I've been waiting for that.
Um
Yeah. Hopefully they're not as cash grabby as Tenrai, because with all the promo material, the only thing you could unlock was the very base armor.
yeah.
You couldn't get a single piece of armor that they showed you in the promo material,
Yeah.
unless you wanted to pay an additional $20 per piece of armor on the marketplace. So it's kind of sad to talk about. It kind of hurts. It really does.
Uh,
It's a shame.
yeah, I don't know. Like I especially oh my gosh, I don't know if it was the very first Halo Infinite trailer or like kind of like the okay, we're actually launching this year, like here's what we have to show for it. And they showed off like the samurai armor. Like, dude, that looks freaking amazing. And I was excited to be able to like unlock that. And then to see like where my Tenrai armor is right now is really a really stark comparison between like the way the two armor sets looked.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that there will be some adjustments where people can actually unlock the armor that they want to have and not have like so much of the different pieces and stuff be locked behind paywalls, which is so confusing to me when looking at the MCC. And I'll probably reference the MCC a couple more times in this podcast, but
Yeah.
it's insane. And part of it, well, actually, a lot of it is probably just because it is free to play. But even still, the amount that you have to pay versus like people who just love the game and will earn things because they're playing the game so much, it's kind of crazy. Like
Yeah.
I can see why somebody would just sit down and be like, you know what, I just want this one thing. I've been playing for X amount of hours. I'm just gonna buy it and I don't know, play whenever I feel like it
Yeah,
instead of grinding.
it's a bad model. It's instead of play to enjoy, it's pay to enjoy. And it's very, very apparent, very clear if you put more than 1 hour into the game. Because you're not earning anything.
Right.
You're not. And It's like if you want to enjoy the subtle, well, this is subtle. Yeah, this game defines customization as subtle because it doesn't give you the options. If you want to enjoy the core things of Halo, like customizing your armor, the only way to do that is to pay. And so I would have been much happier if this was a $60 title, perhaps, and you were able to unlock things rather than paying for everything and making the game pointless without direction. So, because at the moment, there's nothing to work for. There's
Yeah.
nothing to, you don't have a reason to do certain things, certain tasks. And so you're just kind of playing to play, which some games can get away with that, but it's Halo.
I mean, I think like to play to the extent that they want you to play, it makes it feel very hard and grindy. Like playing like I know when I played the beta, I played maybe like 2 to 3 matches a day, or like 2 to 3 matches at one day, and then like the next week I do like another 2 to 3 matches.
You didn't get
For
anything
me,
exclusive for playing the beta, did you?
no, which was I was a little shocked by. I'm glad you mentioned that because I completely forgot. Because when the open beta officially had opened up, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I have any of the items that they allowed me to buy from the shop. Because they gave me a certain number of credits. They're like, check out the marketplace, see if anything costs too much or too little, and let us know. And I wasn't so much. I just like bought a few items from the shop. I'm like, okay, this feels like whatever. Wasn't really thinking about the fact that I wasn't earning any credits. But yeah, I didn't get anything for playing in the closed beta now that you mention it. Which,
Hmm.
I mean, like, it would have been nice, but I'm also, I don't know. It wasn't the biggest deal to me. But
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I was talking about.
Thinking about credits, they've also got this really, really junky monetization model where you don't just buy things outright for cash, you buy them for points, which means if you don't have enough points, you got to buy another point pack. You can't do it a la carte. Um, I personally hate this. This is one of the reasons why if anybody had an Xbox 360 early generation, you'll remember something called Microsoft points.
hmm
MS points were again a really crappy way to buy things because you would wind up paying more for them than MSRP because you would have to buy credit or Microsoft point packs. So here's an example to kind of further explain what I'm intending to say here. Uh, the cheapest pack, well, I actually don't know what the cheapest pack in Halo Infinite is, but the baseline pack, the one that you'll be buying the most if you're trying to get something, say like the battle pass
hmm
or something that isn't a full set of armor, because that's $20. The base pack you'll be buying is 1,000 points. Halo point. I don't know what they're called.
I think they're just
Credits.
credits. Yeah.
Okay. So, pardon. So the pack is 1,000. That costs $10 USD roughly before
hmm
tax. So the items in the shop, the only thing that was 1,000 credits straight up was the battle pass.
All right.
So most of the baseline, the medium priced item in the shop is 1,500. So that means you're gonna have to have two of these $10 packs. That's 1,000, or that's $20 for 2,000 credits, and you'll have 500 left over. So here's the deal: if you didn't want to buy two $10 packs, you're gonna have to get the next step up, which is a $20 pack, and that gives you like 2,500 points, or 20. It gives you 20 or 2,500 credits. I think it's just 20, or 2,000. Sorry. And the reason why I hate this is because you're not paying. Like you can't just buy one pack and expect to get one item perfectly. You're gonna have points left over at the end. It's a monetization strategy where you're gonna have points left over in your account, and you're gonna want to buy something with those points, but those points will never be enough to buy something, which means you're gonna have it's gonna entice the consumer to go and buy a new pack,
Mm.
which if nothing ever equates to the amount of points you have, you're always gonna have points left over, which means you're gonna perpetually buy more and more and more and more. And it's a crap system because you can't just be like, oh, this item is $5. No, it's instead it's 1,200 points when there are no packs that are 1,200 points. Like, it's a really crud system, and it's just another way to get more money out of the user's wallet. It's just it's kind of scummy. I mean, it's not necessarily scummy. It's just it's a marketing strategy. Marketing strategies are what you make of them, and usually they're not a good thing. But for me, it's just it doesn't have a place in Halo. It doesn't. If you want to sell an armor set, if you want to sell pieces of armor, this is the first way you can deal with your really shitty monetization problem, because right now the shop is the biggest contingency for most people.
Mm-hmm.
If they just made things priced, if they just have a dollar sign, just put a dollar sign in front of it. Don't put this stupid credit symbol. Make it actually like specified dollar amount, and immediately it'll start to make things feel better. I know they're not going to do that because, marketing, but we can always hope.
Sorry, my father called. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so something that I asked to Maximus, I wouldn't say early on, but as we've been playing through the multiplayer, is in what way would you justify like having to spend money for these other armor cores or like different armor accessories and whatnot? And one of the things that he said was that if like people didn't have to pay for like fan favorite armors like George's armor, Carter's armor, or Cat's armor, etc., like that was something that you could unlock in the battle pass, or even just be like a part of the like free battle pass, which is a whole nother mixed bag, which I don't like. But if it was a part of like the battle pass where you could just unlock it, you could have it, that would be cool. And you didn't have to like buy it in the marketplace. And then the things that they could put in the marketplace are some of the more like specialty armor sets, like I don't know, like I think the samurai armor one is cool, but I feel like there does have to be a trade-off, like as far as like what armor you could just natively unlock and what armor you would actually have to pay for or have to put some more effort in as far as like the battle pass is concerned. But something specialty, like if they want to do a variation of like the Viking armor set that's in the MCC, like I feel like that would be okay, since it's not something that's like a fan favorite and something that people like, oh my gosh, I really love Halo because of this character and I want to wear their armor. Like it would be kind of crappy to make them, like TMX was saying earlier, have to pay for it like for the third or fourth time. Just like specialty items like that, I feel like would make more sense to ask people to pay X amount of money. Although again, like $10 for like one item, or that it's just, that's kind of a lot. It's very hard to justify. I think the shop could be much more successful and they can make a ton more money if they lowered the prices rather than keeping it where they are now. Yeah, I'm trying to remember like what armor sets we were talking about where it would make more sense for them to be in the shop rather than just like
Unique. Anything unique. Armor in the shop, it's not anything we haven't seen before. It's all stuff that we have seen multiple times, in fact, paid for multiple times. It's nothing like brand new or anything like that. But see, that's the deal. If I were to get something from the shop, I would want it to be brand new and unique. I don't want it to be Master Chief, or not Master Chief. I don't want it to be Halo Reach armor that I've paid for 3 times now.
mm-hmm.
Once in Halo Reach, once in Master Chief Collection, and now the very first Battle Pass of Halo Infinite.
Right.
Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to do that?
I think a good example is probably kind of like what Fortnite is doing with their collaborations with different companies, where, that is a unique thing and it's a limited time thing. So, if you really like that character, then you can go ahead and splurge and get that skin. But if you don't, then fine, whatever. It's not like it's affecting like the set of customizations that you already have, because Fortnite does give you like a very good selection of things to pick from, even if you don't have the battle pass. Like you can still unlock skins and other accessories without having to buy the battle pass. Right. But like if you really like God of War and you wanted to be Kratos, I don't think that's actually happened yet. Actually, let me not speak it into existence. Kratos being in Fortnite.
Yeah, he's in Fortnite.
Okay, never mind. So if you wanted to be
So is Master Chief.
if you wanted to be Kratos, or if you wanted to be Master Chief and you wanted to floss as them or something, I don't know, if you wanted to be Batman or Mando, like those are very, like, obviously they're special skins that are not native to Fortnite and it's coming from franchises that people love. And so of course, like, you know, you have to pay a little bit extra to get that. And sometimes they do make their way back around so people have another opportunity to get it if they couldn't get it before. Whereas like what we're looking at in Halo Infinite with the shop, there there are unique items, but one, they cost, well, there are some unique items. I wouldn't say there's anything that I've seen personally that I was like, you know what, this is special. I will only have a week to get it. I'm going to get it now because a lot of things just cost too much in there. And it's like mostly just different color variations and poses, which I don't care about the poses at all. There are some little like charms and stuff that you can get on your gun that you will probably like rarely ever look at unless you're in the armor hall or the weapons hall. So yeah, just having like specialty things in the shop would make it so much more valuable. And even if they kept it at the same price, I would at least think about it a little bit harder before deciding to say no ultimately to that price.
Yeah, there was a rather unique item added today. You can change the way your assault rifle looks. It gives it what looks like to me the
Oh.
Captain Falcon emblem. The only problem with that being, okay, I mean, that's unique. That's what I'm talking about when I want unique items in the store. Things that
Mm-hmm.
we haven't seen before at all. So like this Mohawk armor that you were talking about, the helmet that's got the neon Mohawk.
Yeah.
There's one with cat ears. There's a whole bunch of different. I mean, that's really only the unique stuff that I know of so far. I haven't really
Mm-hmm.
seen too much else because most of that stuff is leaked or hackers are playing with it. But um, that stuff belongs in the store. That stuff belongs in the store, and that can be charged higher, not higher than what we currently have. But I mean, once we get the monetization back to something reasonable,
Mm-hmm.
that can be one of the more higher priced items. And by higher priced, I mean like $12 maximum. 15 would be pushing it, but 20, absolutely not. Do they understand how fast that piles up? Because I mean, to put it in a way that I think of it, a AAA game is $60, and for some reason with this
And
next
some
generation
kind of going
stuff,
to
it's going up
70.
to 70.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, so for me, if I'm buying an item in a game, how much of that item do I have to buy to equate to the game's total cost? With these armor sets, you need to buy two of them, and you're already over half the price of a normal game. You're buying $20 worth of armor two times. That's $40. A game is $60 usually. You buy
Mm.
three sets of armor, three sets, that's it. You're immediately paying for another game entirely, and all you're getting are cosmetics. Like, I don't want anything that changes the game. Hell no. But when we're talking about things to customize, things to express, things for the player to actually like put forward their personality
Yeah.
in the game, and you're charging that much for it, that's absolutely ridiculous. One of the biggest problems I had with this monetization system, and I've said that so many times because I have a lot of problems. That's my biggest gripe with this game in general, is the monetization system. One of the biggest problems I have is the saturation in terms of what they consider deemable to charge you. There was one pack in particular that really grinded my gears. I got torqued over this one. It was a pack. It was like $7, and that sounds reasonable, right, in terms of what we've been talking about.
Mm.
But then again, it comes back to the credit packs and how much money per pack you're going to be paying and all that stuff. And this pack, $7, and all you get is a brown camo color. And these colors are not universal. Okay? So you don't, like, when you unlock the color, you don't get it on everything. You don't get it on your armor, every weapon, every vehicle. No, you get it per vehicle, per armor, per weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So this pack was $7, and they made it. They were going to be like, oh, they're going to love this because they're getting multiple things in the pack. If you scroll through the pack, it's literally the same thing multiple times because you're buying, quote unquote, the skin for your warthog, your mongoose, your scorpion, your assault rifle, your battle rifle,
Mm,
your pistol. Like if they just gave us that one color and said you could put it on everything,
yeah.
that pack, and instead of having it duplicated multiple times in one pack and just giving it a different title, that would be worth like $1 maximum. I don't see, it's really kind of, it's not shady, it's scummy, it's just not right. It's so poorly done. I don't understand what their goal is, but it's nothing good. It doesn't feel good. Uh,
Yeah, it's I don't understand why they feel the need to like nickel and dime you for every single thing and not have like at the very least like armor pieces, okay, different armor cores, sure, they can have different armor pieces, I guess, if you really want to make it like that. But colors, you're telling me you couldn't take one can of spray paint and put it on like everything? You have to get a specialized thing of spray paint. And I'm not talking about real life. I'm talking like in a video game. Like you just apply the same color to like literally everything and not have it not need a specialized palette for like a specific item. It kind of gets a little bit crazy once you get to that point. And I don't know. I just like I at some points I do feel a little bit sad for like the devs and like the people who actually worked on this game to make it what it is, because at its core it's really really great. And then you start getting into like some of the more greedy, like money hungry aspects. Like yes, it's free to play, so you do have to make your money back in some aspects, but paying for the same color over and over again or having to duplicate the same color to work on all of your vehicles or all of your armor cores or like all these different accessories. How does that work in terms of like thinking about like what a fan would enjoy? Like it just I don't think there's any way you could say like yes, I think a fan would think that this is the right way to do this. And I don't know. I wish the devs had more freedom in that aspect, because seeing what they've done with just like all of the past games that have had armor customization, like they didn't do things like this. So why are we starting now,
it's the free to play title. That's what it is. I very much think that free to play, I have said this already, I very much think free to play is ruining modern games. You're not paying for all of Halo Reach's armor in this battle pass. You're only paying for a very, very strict set.
Yeah.
Not to mention we didn't really talk about this yet, which is the predisposed armor sets, meaning you can look like George, Carter, Emil, June, uh, Cat. You can look like them top down,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't mix and match.
No, yeah, you can't change the color, or like if you want to change the shoulder pad, you can't do that because then you would just have to use your own armor core and it would just like take away like some of the things that are specific to their kit, and you'd be stuck using like whatever it is that you have, which I don't understand at all, really. Like if I
Again,
wanted to
it's
be
taken
like
away from the
Cat
customization.
or Carter but red, like why could I not do that?
Right.
I don't know.
And again, it's going against their promotional material, because even in uh the background of the thumbnail, when you start the game up, there's George, or not George, there is Emil and Carter, and they're both gold. They're different colors,
Mm.
but it's their exact armor sets. Why can the player not do that? How come we're unable to do that? What's so difficult about taking an armor set? By the way, I have another problem with the armor sets. The details are lacking. Again, if you look at those fan favorite shoulders that I was talking about on these predisposed armor sets, George's does not have any detail. It's multiple colors. If you look at it, it's got a stripe across it. It's red and yellow, or red and sand, whatever you want to call it. Emil's shoulder, Carter's shoulder. If you want to see what those are like, just go ahead and look at those armor sets and you'll understand immediately. But how is it so difficult to allow the player to coat over something with a color, especially when these colors are not at all difficult? Like they're not at all not unique, but
Like they're
they're
pretty
simple.
basic, yeah. Like red,
Yeah,
blue, green, yellow. Like
just simple.
there's not. There are
Nothing
very
intricate.
few like color palettes that have a lot of variation to them.
Yeah, we have nothing intricate. The most intricate skins that we have are from the leagues, are from the pro teams in the shop, which are each $10 a piece.
Hmm.
So those are like, don't even get me wrong, those are literally the best armor pieces, the armor sets that we can get right now, but those are considered, as I said, an armor set. They are not something that you can mix and match. So you're stuck with it once you have it. But those are nice. They have patterns in them. They have variation. The nano suit, which is like the suit beneath the armor, that has different colors and patterns on it. The armor itself has different variations where like one arm is colored, the other is not. The visors are unique. We don't get that as a player. And it makes no sense where it went. That's another thing that it kills the feeling for me. It does not feel like Halo. It's like if you were to take the game, okay, if you just remove the main menu altogether and you just put somebody in a perpetual queue, meaning the moment they started the game, it just puts them into a match. That would essentially be what we have now, minus the problems. It sounds stupid, but it's a game that you can't choose your game mode in. So why not just force the player to queue in and be at the mercy of whatever the game chooses for you without the problem that everybody's facing right now, which is money. I don't know. It's done poorly.
And I think like the other part that makes me kind of sad is like because that's the way that the game currently is. Like if they were to give the player freedom to, like if they wanted to make 1 foot red, 1 foot blue, I kind of don't see how that would be possible in Halo Infinite based on like the system of customization that they have now. Unless they
At the moment,
made,
it's not.
yeah, unless they have like, I don't know, they would literally have to make something that was similar to the way that the MCC handles customization or the way that Halo Reach handles customization, where you could like intricately design or select the colors for each body part, which I don't really see happening, unfortunately. And that's kind of what
No.
I feel like a lot of people were hoping for before launch. Was like kind of a sole successor to Halo Reach 2 as far as like what that game, what that game was able to do with customization and making a really deep story that was just fun to play. The campaign, like it's Master Chief, and usually Master Chief campaigns they don't offer you any like in-game or in-campaign customization, but on the multiplayer front, it's just not giving us that. Um,
No.
which I don't know. I guess I'll be playing more of the MCC than I thought this year, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess just some closing thoughts that I had on the list that I don't believe we've talked about. Let's see. So I think one of the biggest things is in regards to the weekly challenges. Basically, to break those down for anybody who doesn't know, the weekly challenges are kind of like ways to gain XP, but also ways to they're ways to gain XP so that way you can progress in the battle pass. And some of the weekly challenges are attached to specific game modes, and as we've talked about, like you can't change, or you can't select a specific game mode to play. Like if you only wanted to play oddball or you only wanted to play capture flag, like you can't do that. You're put in this queue of basically shuffled up game modes, which you could end up playing Slayer all day and not really have a choice in the matter. I think today, literally today, which is the
Yep.
actually I won't date this podcast just in case. But today, as of recording this, they did add I believe one new game mode to the list. So I guess there is that. If you even have the chance to play it today, or I don't know what that's gonna look like. I guess I'll find out later on. But attaching objectives to specific game modes sucks. I don't like it. Um,
So a little bit of good news on that is an update actually pushed today, making those requirements for said challenges less. They are we had an update pushed out today, which it talked about the challenge, the problem with having specific game mode based
mhm,
challenges, saying something like win 3 stockpile games,
right.
which I did just have this past week, and that was horrendous. The odds of you getting winning, let alone getting that game mode, or getting that game mode, let alone winning, is very low. It's very low. Like stockpile, Jamie and I, we had really bad luck with winning, or yeah, ever winning that, and it was very rare that we played it. So that was basically luck of the draw. This
Mhm,
week they just sent out an update, and they were talking about challenge specific or scenario specific challenges. Um, they're reducing the requirements for those, and they essentially put out an update trying to make the weekly reward easier to gain or easier to get. This week, they also put out an update making it so that you gain more XP for completing ranked matches. I'm going to talk about something that kind of pissed me off earlier. I got in to see what my weekly challenges were, and I had a ranked challenge at the bottom of the list. Usually, when you have a ranked challenge and you don't want to play ranked, I personally hate ranked. I like casual gameplay. I tried to swap it out. Previous weeks, if you try to swap out a ranked challenge, it changes to something that is not ranked.
mhm.
This week, they forced it. So I
Oh,
wasted 2 challenge swaps because I swapped it once and it went to ranked.
that is actually doo doo.
And I tried to swap out ranked again and it just went back to the original challenge. So I lost some challenge swaps for nothing. And if that's the case, if they force the player base to play ranked, that is not okay, in my opinion. I play games to play casually. I am personally not a ranked fan. I know there are a lot of people out there who love ranked, and I know there are tons of people who don't. They just want to hop on after a day of work and they just want to like play a match or two and not really care too much about how good or how bad they play.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But if you're forced to go into something that places you in a bracket, how's that going to make you feel? Probably not great. I don't
No,
know. In a
that's a very
game,
weird thing to make players do. That's
yeah, I don't like it. My previous ranked challenges were making me. They wanted me to win games of ranked,
mhm.
but these ones I guess are a little better because all they want me to do is play particular types of ranked. Like they want me to play ranked capture the flag. They don't say win, which is nice. The only problem is again not being able to choose what your game mode is. Um, I do appreciate the fact that they're trying to make weekly challenges easier, but when the reward is dookie, like a freaking emblem,
Mhm.
oh, it's not even an emblem, it's a background. So it's a thing you put behind your character in the main menu and only you can see it? Question mark?
What?
Um, yeah, only you can see it. It makes no sense. So
Hmm.
if your reward, your free reward, by the way, uh, is something like that, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they decided this is such a good idea, but we can hope that it'll eventually change.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I do have to. I'm gonna add some closing remarks because my computer said, "Hey, I'm running out of space." I'm like, "Oh." Um. So a lot of the things that we've said today, not necessarily the most positive things, but we say it because we hope that these things can be changed for the better, so that next time.
Game can become perfect.
You know, I don't even think you have to achieve perfect. Just achieve something
No,
where, you're making
enjoyable.
people, yeah, you're making people happy. People aren't frustrated. People aren't having to dig through their wallet just to get something that they want in the game that isn't like specialized or anything. But yeah, we do enjoy the multiplayer. It's just like the once you are within or have played it for a bit, it's these things that start to get on your nerves, and there's currently no relief for it. So we're
Mm.
hoping things can get better. But the campaign has been a lot of fun so far, at least. So there's that. The paid portion of the game has been the most enjoyable so far. Um, but yeah, just if anybody from the 343 team or Microsoft happens to watch this, we don't hate the multiplayer. We just want some changes. We want some very important changes that I feel like would be for the betterment of the player base and for you
Yeah,
guys,
for the community entirely.
for the community.
It's not just for us. It's not specified asks, not specified requirements. These are things that we've had gripes with. These are things that we've seen online that a lot of people had gripes with,
Yeah, a
and
lot of people have been expressing these things. And it's like
it's
even within like
community concerns.
I've played Halo Infinite with like multiple groups of people, which I usually just don't play multiplayer games in general. So you guys are doing something right there. But to hear multiple groups express these same complaints means that there is something that needs to be addressed at the very least. So, yeah. But anything else you want to add, Team Maximus, before we log off?
Um, I mean, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. The game
Mm-hmm.
is fun. The parts outside of the gameplay, that's really the only thing getting in the way of enjoyment. This might not bother everybody,
Oh, yeah.
but for for the people that really don't want to shovel out that dollar and want to feel like they're actually working towards something, this just might not be the game for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
But
like something that we didn't go too in depth to, which now it's at the end. We still won't, but I'll mention it quite briefly. If you don't pay for the battle pass, the like version that includes everything, not just the free section you will not get. Well, I can't say you will not get. I don't know for sure, but from what I saw, you will get like a few different armor color variations. You'll get some skill or some swaps, some challenge swaps, and that'll be about it. You will not unlock any armor pieces. You will not get to get Carter's armor kit or um Cat's armor kit. Like you will just get colors,
you'll
and
get
you won't even I don't even know if you'll get colors that will actually work on the one armor core that you have without the paid battle pass.
you get like two, but they're nothing special. Again, that's it's pretty obvious, but
Yeah, so that
you'll
alone
you'll
should tell you.
unlock yeah, you'll unlock very basic things. You'll unlock a right shoulder piece, but you won't get the left one. You'll unlock the Mark 7 helmet, which is the primary promotional material, but that's at tier 80. It's like 83 if I'm not mistaken, which if you heard earlier, just to put it into simpler words, one tier is about 1 hour of your time. If
Hmm.
you want to put 83 hours in to get nothing except one helmet, by all means, that's up to you.
Yeah,
It's
definitely play the game that you play it how you want it to be played. We're not trying to take anybody's enjoyment away
oh,
from it. Like
definitely not.
if you
No.
don't think anything's wrong with Halo Infinite, then that is amazing, and I hope you have the best of time playing it. But there there has been like a large community outcry, so much so that the Halo community has turned in onto itself, and the Reddit was
Oh my.
temporarily shut down for a moment, which is so insane that people can be so mad about something to the point where they're just lashing out at literally anybody who's willing to listen.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's on the devs or anything. Those people in Reddit are dumb. But they did
They need to
have
chill out.
a little bit of motivation, I guess, as far as like really just fueling
It's
the
frustration.
yeah,
Frustration.
fueling their fire. But yeah. So I guess that is the end. So tell us down in the comments, do you guys think we are right with some of the things that we said? You guys think we're completely wrong and you are absolutely loving the game? I'd be interested to hear some of your opinions, because this is definitely, I don't know, I feel like it's not something that's being openly discussed as far as like, I don't know, like different gaming talk shows or podcasts, at least that I've heard recently, but it is something that, I don't know, I feel like should be discussed more, and so that the devs know like what they need to focus on next. But all right, well, thank you all for listening. I know this was a long therapy session, but I hope I hope that
We
you
can all
all,
take a deep breath now.
yeah, you all were able to get something out of it. You can breathe a little bit easier to know that you're not the only one struggling. You're not the only
Yeah.
one that feels this way. All
Yeah, and
right.
please let us know if there's something that you have concerns with that we didn't talk about, because I
Yeah.
personally would love to hear about. Again, this is an entire thing to bring awareness to the problems that are being screamed from the mountains at the moment. If there is something that we didn't mention, I would love to hear it. I'm sure you would love to hear it. It is your
Yeah.
channel after all.
Especially if you play on PC. We've been playing mainly on consoles, so we have no idea.
Yes. Please let us know. I've been trying to get my brother to play, but he simply will not, because he's heard about these input problems. And I told him it's a free to play game. Just try it. And I want to know what I wanted to know, but he won't try it. He has nothing to lose from it. It's free. But let us know. Let us know what the concerns are. Let us know if there are any discrepancies that are hidden behind PC, because at the moment we haven't tried PC yet.
Yeah.
Halo has been a completely console-based game for us since it came out in 1999. So let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. I would love to hear it.
All right. Well, that is it from us. So if you guys like the video, make sure to like it so that you can get the next podcast sometime, hopefully sooner than a year from now, into your inbox, and subscribe if you want to see other content. The gaming news prime time, it will be, if it's not out right now, then it will be coming out shortly. Since I'm on winter break, I can't actually make that promise, and it will be fulfilled. And what else? Yeah, I mean, I also have a channel where I do reviews and things like that. So by the time this comes out, Spider-Man will probably be out, and hopefully I'll have already seen it, because if not, the whole world will be screaming spoilers for weeks to come. So be careful out there if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a nice evening or night. Whereas enjoy it. Enjoy Halo Infinite. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, but once again, thank you guys so much for listening to the Gamechat podcast. I know at this point, a lot of this information is not necessarily dated. It's actually, sadly, a lot of it is still relevant, and there have been, in my opinion, even more problems that have erupted from Halo Infinite. So hopefully this will kind of be a way for the devs or anybody in the Halo community to kind of just talk about this game and hopefully get it to a better state. I did mention a few times in the podcast that the MCC is doing a really good job, but you know, when the MCC first came out, it was in terrible shape, and the games didn't even really run on the MCC. So hopefully the Halo Infinite can have a similar curve of growth, and hopefully a shorter amount of time, because it took years for the MCC to actually work and be the way that it is now. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel. Thank you guys for the support on this video, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, peace.